moments where we teach and show you how God works in our careers, what his purpose is for us, and why we should trust him with everything that we do. My name is Rita Wilson.
And I'm Sandra Fernandez.
And we are here with Isaiah. How
Hello.
are you?
Good. How
Everyone
are you?
calls you Zane.
Zay.
Zay.
Yeah.
I love
Mr.
it.
Yeah.
Zay
I love it. And you're the owner of
Empire Barbershop.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love
Where
that.
are you located?
North Ogden.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
we're a little of that.
How long have you guys been open?
We're going on 4 years. So
Wow,
3 years. 3 years already.
congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
love
It's
that.
exciting. It's been a journey.
Oh, I bet.
Owning a business, marriage, having a son, all in like the same year.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
Wild.
What
So.
is the best part of being you then? Tell me.
He's like, right up.
I think the best part of being me is I don't know. I think I love people, and like I have a big heart for people, and I think that's like one of the best things that I've seen. It's hard though because not everybody has that like reciprocation. So
Yes.
it's like to love people and then to not receive it is the hardest thing ever. But I think that's what it is. It's like I just love.
You love people.
I love people. I love people, and that's what kind of brings me here too, where it's like, God, please help me to be a vessel, right? Please help me to say the words that I need to say
Right.
to help. So, yeah, that's just one of them things where it's crazy.
I love it. I love your Instagram. It's very inspiring, right?
Thank you. Yeah.
I could tell you love people because you own a business where you run people, and I think sometimes, I don't want to say you have to love people to run a business because sometimes that's not why we do it, right?
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
watch your words here, Rita, right?
But it's definitely a huge thing.
Right.
I mean, owning a barbershop and then obviously like seeing clients every single day, multiple clients, right? 8+.
I'd say being like in the service industry.
Yeah,
is
any
because we
service
like to
industry.
serve.
Yeah, exactly. So you gotta, loving people is just part of it. Because if you didn't, then it would just be, it would make your
Yeah.
job really, really hard.
That's true.
You know,
That's very
really,
true.
really, really hard because you
wouldn't
deal
be
with
in it for the right
different
reasons.
people every day.
Every day.
Right.
So,
So,
yeah.
what inspired you to start up
A barbershop?
Yeah. What was it?
Just knowing that I can do it, knowing that I wanted to create a different environment. I was part of a barbershop. I've been in multiple barbershops and seen, and I was just like, I just want to create something that people could come into, and I would say the love of Jesus because that's what I operate on, right? So I think it's that where it's like I just want to create a space where they can come in and feel a different type of energy, right? And so that's just what I wanted to create, and I knew I could do it with the help of God, right? And so that was just something where I was like, I want to do this, and I want to do it in the right way, and I want to make sure people come in and they leave different in a way, right? They leave and they're like, that was something that I want to experience again, and so
Right.
that was just part of it. So
Right.
yeah.
I always tell people whenever I train lash artists, I always tell them, I don't believe that we're in a saturated market, even though there is a lot of us. But I do feel like if you create your own experience,
Yep.
definitely people will choose to go. Like, I know I like specific places to go just because of the experience, even if they are a franchise. I prefer this experience over the experience I got somewhere else, so
Yeah, I would
love
say that
that.
there's a
Very cool.
client for everybody.
There is a
and,
client
and
for
so
everybody, yeah.
sometimes, even in the barbershop where the barbers, it's like there's so many barbers, and
Yeah.
I'm like, there's just so many people out there,
There is so
and
many
there's gonna be
people,
people that
yeah.
come to me and are like, you know what, I don't really like that energy. I like this energy, and that's totally fine, right? So
Totally.
you'll find that the people that want to come, and then the people that go to other places, which is just fine. So
Totally fine.
Yeah.
How did you create? You talked a little bit about like the feeling, right? Like building a barbershop on Jesus, right? And
Yeah.
wanted people to come in and feel a different kind of feeling, right? And that feeling, from what I got from what you were saying, is kind of like God's love, right?
Yeah.
So, like, how did you create that?
I'd say I would say it's just letting Jesus do his thing,
Mm-hmm.
right,
like
from the start. But I think it's like leading by example, right? So it's almost like, I think a lot of owners of just any business, right? I think that it's hard to kind of create a space that you want to create because you feel like, oh, well, there's this person, they're all different. But I feel like when you lead by example, right? If you go in there and just know, okay, there's these people, all my barbers, right? These guys are watching me every single day.
Right.
They're listening to me every single day, right? Mm-hmm. And so I have to do things in certain ways. I have to say things certain ways, and and obviously that's led by like Jesus. That's just where my hope is, and my faith is, right? So it's led by that, and I just have to know that they're always watching, they're always listening, and it just kind of just goes. It goes.
Yeah.
Like I look now, 3 years in, and I just think, I mean, I had a barber leave. They moved to Arizona, and she just started a podcast. So it's so crazy that she just started a podcast, and she was talking, and she was saying some stuff, and she was saying how much like this shop impacted her, and it kind of changed the trajectory of her life.
Oh, wow.
And so that was something like cool for me
Yeah.
to hear, because I was like, I didn't even know that that's what happened, right? And then so you start to look at that, and you're like, man, like I really am doing something. Because sometimes you're just moving in life, and you're like, I'm not doing anything, or like, what am I even doing here? Because I don't see it, right? Because you're living life every single day, so you don't. It's like small improvements, and you don't
Right.
really see it as much. Right. And so when I heard that, I was like, man, so there is stuff happening, and it was just by me being me,
Right.
And loving people, and so that just happens every single day, right? And it just builds brick by brick by brick, and then you just start to, you just start to see it happening, and so you walk into the barbershop and everyone's like, hey, what's up? Hey, how you
I
doing?
haven't
Hey,
walked
how
in,
you
I've
doing?
seen the energy online.
Yeah,
I'm like,
so
Am I
that
going
just
there?
happens, and then I got a manager that kind of like his like fed right off of me, and then he's building his own thing, right? And now it's just like he leads these guys, and I'm just like, man, like this is so cool. So
Yeah.
I've heard a lot of comments, a lot of reviews say like, you come in here, it's like a family. You come into Empire Barbershop, it's like a family, and I'm just like, that's exactly what I wanted to do, and that's exactly what I wanted to build, and we're doing that. So that's just been something so crazy to see. So
Very cool.
yeah.
What are some of the challenges that you've experienced?
People.
Like in life. Yeah. It's like you love them, but then
You
at the
love
same time,
'em,
it's
but
like
they're
people.
Hey, loving people is tough, but yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the challenges that you faced in your career, and like how have you been able to? Okay, what have you learned from it, and how have you been able to like pivot to
Oh man.
to work it out?
Yeah. Praying.
Yeah.
No, I've
Getting on
dealt
your
with
knees?
I've dealt with a lot of like I said, I opened up my barbershop. I got married. I opened up my barbershop, and I had a kid, like literally with all in a year. And so that was a challenge in itself, right?
Yeah.
Because you're trying to start a business, you're trying to build something, and then I get married, and now you're trying to. I mean, me and my wife we were together for a little bit before we got married, but. I mean, once you get married, I don't know. It's
feels
just different.
different.
She even goes, this is different. And I don't know. I think once I got married, I was like, I don't know what changed, but I was like, this is my woman. Like nobody is messing
Like,
with
I
her.
signed
like,
this paper.
Are you listening?
Isn't that so? It's so funny because it was
own this.
it just
Love
changed.
it.
It just
Yeah.
changed the way I thought, the way I operated, and everything. And I was just like, oh my gosh. So, and so it was just I was already kind of providing, but like. I was like, no, we providing, right? So, and then we have a kid.
It's the double word. Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, and then we have a kid, and then that's a challenge in itself.
Yeah.
All this, and then I'm sick while I'm doing all this too.
Okay.
So I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, I think 5 years ago.
What is that?
So it's a ulcerative colitis. It's basically like there's ulcers in your colon, and ulcers bleed, and then so it's hard to digest foods is what it is, and it kind of just is it's a painful thing. So I'm sick while all this is happening too. So these are all the things that just kind of go through, but and it's so weird to even share this like this, because I think that like you look at me now, you look at like my Instagram, for example, and I don't think you can really see it. sometimes people don't even understand like everything that's going on in the background.
Right.
And it's because like we just keep moving, you know, we just
Right.
keep pushing forward. And even though it's hard, I'd say that like the faith in Jesus, like hope that everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You kind of just keep moving forward regardless, right? And just because it is the hope that everything is gonna be okay.
Right.
Right.
I mean, it doesn't mean that it doesn't like hurt sometimes, or sometimes you don't. I don't know, man. We've been going through a hard time for a while now, so kind of like think about all this stuff and holy, like, man, like some of the challenges have been tough,
Right.
but just the grace of God and just Him just leading me and helping me, and we've came this far, and we're still going, and we're still pushing, and we're still moving. So
I love it. So what does
Yeah.
it look like? So you have a lot going on, right? So you started this business. And you've been with your girl for a little bit.
No, it's his woman.
His woman.
That's my
Your
woman.
girl.
My lady.
Okay,
It's
let's
his
double say
woman.
everything. That's your baby.
Whereas she's my girl, but now
Yeah.
she's my woman.
Yeah, see, yeah, you guys understand.
So, you know, you have a kid and then you find out you're sick, right? And
Yeah.
there's all of this going on. So, like, how are you holding on to God through all of this? What are some of the things you're doing? I want you to, you know, get a little rah-rah for me. I have to
man.
double say.
Like, is there any moment where you're just like, what? How is this happening?
Every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Okay, so I said this to my mom the other day, and we were out to lunch and we were eating, and I said this, and I'm gonna say this, and I know it's gonna be crazy, and you guys are gonna be like, "What's going on here?" But I'd say like if I didn't have hope in Jesus, right, that everything's gonna be okay and fine. I don't know if I should say this, but like
Just say it. We're
I-
unfiltered. No filter.
without Jesus and everything that I'm going through, I would have already ended my life. Like, that's just legit. I told my mom that. She looked at me like, what the heck is going on here? Like, because I said it a little bit different. I was like, I'd kill myself already. Like, there's no, like, I don't want this pain. Like, I'm hurting. Like, why do
Yeah.
I want to do this anymore? I don't want to do it anymore.
Right.
And so, how do I hold on to Jesus? There's just hope. And I said it all the time, where there's hope in Jesus. There's hope in Jesus. And sometimes it's hard to believe that when you're going through stuff,
Right.
when you're in pain. But I mean, I'd say worship songs. I'm a worship song guy, so like that's just what I listen to all the time, and that's just like, it's just something that I just have in there, and so it's just
Yeah.
like repeating. It's funny because like Christian songs and worship music, they just repeat the lines over and
Yeah.
over and over again, right? And I love it because I'm like, let's
there's
go.
something so
I trust in
powerful.
God. You know what I mean? I just keep going,
Yes.
and so it's just like over and over and over. So it's just like repeating that.
Yeah.
It's gonna all be good. And holding on to Jesus is, like I said, that's the only hope that I have. So without that, it's like life is just over, I guess, in a sense for me. So it's like, I have no
And
option.
some
There's
people
no-
listen
there's
to
no
this and
choice.
be like, he's crazy. Life is over because he doesn't have God. And it's funny because you don't understand until you're at that point, until you understand, like,
Oh yeah, so let me go back just a little bit. So there's a lot of stuff in my life that I've gone through, right? So I'm gonna take you to the beginning of where like the sickness started
you must
happening.
be reading my mind. I was going to ask.
Good, no, that's God. Listen,
He's in here.
yeah.
sorry.
So I'm trying to think about where to start. I've always had stomach issues, right? So for the longest time, I remember being in high school and it was weird because I'd wake up and for some reason every morning before I had to throw up before I moved on with my day because for some reason I just felt sick. But once I threw up, I was okay. And so that was happening in high school. I didn't want to go see the doctor. Forget that. I'm not doing that, right?
Yeah.
And so I avoided it and just did what I did, whatever.
Yeah.
Fast forward to just the future, and then I was always sick, so I thought I was lactose, and then I thought, oh, I have, they diagnosed me with celiac disease, and that's where you just can't eat gluten. So I was like, okay, I can't eat wheat, can't eat no more tortillas, all that stuff is gone, right? So I'm like, okay, bet, let's do that. And so I do that, and I get a little bit better, or whatever. I go to barber school, okay? So I'm in barber school for like 3 months, and one day I just go to use the restroom, and my stomach's already jacked up and stuff, but now I don't know what told me to look in the toilet this time. I know, I'm sorry, guys.
No,
I'm
you're
sorry.
okay. You're okay.
I don't know what told me to look in the toilet, but there's blood. And I'm like,
Wow.
Yeah.
what's going on here? I mean, I would imagine I was probably
Wow.
really, really scared that day, right? But I think the fear, right? The fear like drove me to not even say anything. So I didn't tell nobody, nothing. And it just kept happening every day.
Yeah.
Every day. Every time I went, I was like, dang. Finally, it got so bad, and I think I held it from my wife, from my parents, everybody for like 3 months. I'm like 28, 20, I don't know, something like that. And I held it from everybody for like 3 months. Finally, it gets bad, and I'm like, I gotta go do something, right? And so finally, I sit my parents and my wife down, and I tell them, say, hey, like, this is happening. Because I Googled, right? Like, I'm going to Google,
Oh,
and
not
I'm
Dr.
like,
Google. No.
blood, you know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
kind of Googling it, and it tells me, and the first thing that pops up is cancer. And so I'm just like, man, I don't want cancer. Who wants? Nobody. I don't want that, right? So that's always been the fear in my head for years, and it's still to this day, it's still a fear, right? And so that happens. I tell them, we go to the doctor like the next week or something, and we had to have a colonoscopy and stuff, and that's when they diagnosed me with ulcerative colitis, right? And so now they put me on a medicine. They put me on a medicine. I was on it for like 6 months. This was one that I had to put a shot in my leg I think it was every other day or something, something like that. So I did that. 6 months in, failed. They're like, okay, we got to get you on another medicine. They put me on another medicine. This time, this one was an IV. I had to go every month, once a month, and they'd stick an IV in me, and I'd sit there for like an hour and a half or something. This one worked for, I think, 6 months too, probably 6 to 9 months, and then that one failed. And okay, so imagine all this, and I'm still like thinking and praying, and I'm just like, God, like, what is happening here? Because I just want to be better. Like, I want to be better. And I don't remember exactly what I was feeling, but I could imagine that, like, I was just like, man, like, this is dumb. Like, 2 failed medicines. What's going on? So finally, they're like, okay, well, we got this medicine. This one's crazy. They go, we got this medicine. We've only gave it to 3 other patients, and you'll be the 3rd one, but the only way you can get on this medicine is you have to fail out of other medicines. You have to fail out of 2 other medicines. So I failed out of 2 other medicines, and so now they could give me this one. And they're like, so basically this is like an experiment, right? They're like, you're only the 4th patient to take this medicine. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm desperate, so I don't know what it is. I know that it's $30,000, right? Insurance take care of it, but like, it's a pill. So it's a pill I got to take every day. I'm like, okay, let's go. So we take the pill. This one lasts for a year, and I'm getting better. And I'm like, man, this is amazing. I feel great. I feel good. Then a year, I think it was right before the year, because I think my wife was saying that. She's like, man, like right before a year didn't even pass, and now I'm bleeding more again, and it's going again. And she's like, I didn't tell her again, to be honest.
You're like, no.
I didn't tell her again, but finally it got bad enough where I was like, okay, like, babe, it's getting bad again. Like, I don't know. But now we're 2 weeks out from a routine colonoscopy. So it's already been a year, and we have to get another colonoscopy. And so she's like, she's like, you got to go in. And I'm like, no, we're 2 weeks away from the colonoscopy. Like, they're going to tell us everything once they go in, right? And so I'm waiting, we wait, and then we go in for the colonoscopy. And this is where everything changes, like, drastically. We know that the medicine's failed, right? Because it's all getting bad again.
Right.
And so it's failing. We're like, what the heck's happening? They go in for the colonoscopy. The doctor comes out, and they put you to sleep when you go in for the colonoscopy, right? So you're asleep, and then you wake up. I've had like 6 of these, I think. The pain that I woke up in was crazy. I had to go pee before I went to the colonoscopy. So when I woke up, there was just a lot of pain down there, and I thought it was just because I had to pee. I know that sounds weird, but I was like, there's a lot of pain, right? And that's what I thought it was cause. But it was bad, and so I was like, okay, well, let's use the restroom, and pain didn't stop, nothing. And I'm like, dang, what the heck's happening? Well, the doctor didn't say anything. He came and talked to us. Hey, the medicine's failing. You flared up. It's all bad in there. We're gonna figure something out. All right, send me home. I go home and I'm in so much pain. It took like 3 hours because I'm trying to be macho, I guess. I'm like, the pain's gonna pass. It's gonna be okay, right? And so I'm laying in bed and I'm just in so much pain. And I remember I remember just getting, my wife's like, let's go to the doctor, or let's go to the hospital, ER. Let's go to the ER. And I'm just like, no, it's okay. Then finally I get up to go to the restroom and I just fell. Like I was just done. Like, so I just fell on the floor and I was just like holding my stomach, and she's like, we need to go. And at this point I'm done fighting. I'm like, all right, let's go. So we go to the ER, right? We walk into the ER and there is like, every chair is filled. And I'm like, oh my God.
That's so frustrating.
Oh my gosh, because I'm in pain,
Yeah.
right? So I'm like, this is not even happening, right? So they check us in, they sit us down. They're like, it's like an hour wait probably, right? We're waiting for like 30 minutes. And I think I gave myself anxiety, like an anxiety attack, because I was freaking out. I'm in pain. Next thing you know, and I was thirsty, and they won't let you drink water in the ER, right? They won't let you do nothing. I was like, man, like I'm about to, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go to the bathroom and I'm gonna drink some water. Somebody goes into the bathroom and I'm like,
I can't.
oh my gosh, I can't do this. So now it's even going even more, right?
Yeah.
So I'm in so much pain. And then these guys go, well, I seen him walk to the bathroom, and then that's when I started freaking out, right? And the next thing you know, everything just got hot. And I was like, I'm about to take off my shirt. Like literally I was about to take off my shirt because I was so hot. And sweat just starts going, and next thing you know it, like I just can't see. Like everything just got blurry. And I go, babe, babe, you gotta take me. Like we gotta go, right? Like take me to the front, tell them. We go up to the front, and everything's still, I'm in a wheelchair because that's where they had me because I was in so much pain, right? So I'm in a wheelchair, and she pulls me up there. She's like, hey, he's not okay. He needs something, right? And they take my vitals and all that stuff, and all I can hear, right? But I can't really see. Everything's just blurry. And I'm hot, and I can hear, and this is all I hear is, we have one. And I'm like, you have one what? Like, what do you have? Like, I'm confused, right? And so next thing you know it, they're like taking me back, and that, I don't know, I guess I was the one. I don't know. But yeah, so we go to the back, and I'm just in so much pain. And this is what I remember after that. So that whole trip was just crazy, right? But this is where everything changed, because I go to the back, and they won't let me drink anything still. Everything's going crazy. And I remember my mom walking in. And at this point in my life, like literally, I was done. I was so done. I just seen my mom, and I looked, and I was like, I'm tired, Mom. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, that's how done I was. I was so, like, I just wanted it to end. Like, life was just over at that point, right? And I was just like, man, like, I'm, and I don't know why it was my mom, right? Like, my wife's right there.
Right.
It was my mom that I looked at, and I was like, I don't know, maybe it's because my mom, right? So it's like, I'm done. Like, I know you love me. I know my wife loves me. I know my kids love me. But, like, I'm done. I don't want to be here because I'm in so much pain, right? And so that happened. And then, I'm sorry about this. My fault.
Okay. Don't be sorry.
But, yeah, so I was just, yeah, okay. So yeah, that's just where it kind of happened, man. And I'm praying this whole time. I'm in the chair, like I'm like, God, where are you?
Right.
Like, where are you right now? Because, and in me, and I know, like as Christians, like we all look at this, right? I'm like, man, like these guys out here living their best lives, and I'm over here trying to praise you and worship you and tell people about you. And why am I here in this bed? Like I am so done. And now, like, it's not easy to, like, do this life with Jesus sometimes, right? Because sometimes we believe that, like, our way or the way we think it should be played out is the way it needs to go, right?
Yeah.
And so you look at all that stuff and you're just like, man, like, what is happening here, right? And so And so thank you. And so it was just wild. Anyways, the doctor walks in, right? And he's like, I don't even know what the word was, but basically there was a hole in my colon. When they went in there, it was so inflamed that they had to like blow it up like a balloon. And when they did that, it ripped. And so luckily, thankfully, I didn't have anything to eat or drink for like, because before you have a colonoscopy, you have to, it's like one day you do a whole clear liquid diet, and then the next day you don't eat anything like or anything before the procedure, right? So I'm like going on like almost 24 hours of like not eating nothing. And so, yeah, so there was nothing in there. So basically, because if it was ripped and there was stuff in there, it would be able to go, and then infection happens, and then that's when it could get really dangerous, right? So thankfully that nothing happened like that. But they're like, okay, so the doctor comes in, he says this, and he's like, we have to do emergency surgery, and we gotta remove part of your colon, and you're gonna have a bag. And I'm like, looked at my wife, and I'm like, what's going on here? Because we always knew this was a possibility. We always knew, because once we have ulcerative colitis, you start researching, you start doing stuff, and this is like just something that happens. And I looked at my wife, and I was like, man, like I'm really done. Like I don't want to do this. Now, here's the other part of this, right? I remember sitting in the room. Now they have me on drugs, right? They were able to give me something to like numb the pain, and now I'm like, okay, I'm good. Like I feel better. Feel better. But in my head, I'm like, I still want this to be over, right?
Right.
I remember my wife, they were going to take me. I looked at my wife. I was so done. And it's funny because I was thinking about this, and I literally said to my wife, I said, right when they're wheeling me off, I said, take care of my sons. Because I in my head, I was like, I hope something happens so that I'm not here. Like, I know that sounds crazy, but like, I was just done, right? And so, and I didn't want the bag. Like, I don't want the bag. Like, nobody wants that. I don't want that. And so, yeah, so they wheel me off, and they do that, and I'm just like, okay. I wake up, and man, life is crazy. I can't walk. I sat in bed I was in the hospital for a whole week. And I started walking, I think, the second day, but I'm like, they gave me one of those walkers, you know, and I'm like walking, I could barely walk, got a bag. It's not producing nothing, which is a scary thing, because it's like, what's happening here, right? I can't eat. This is just like a whole bad thing, right? And so, fast forward, I have a bag now. And this is like the most crazy thing, and I've always wanted to share this story, right? I'm okay now, and that's where we have to, like, I would say, like, God is so good, because I'm still here. After all this stuff that I just said, like, I'm still here. And I posted a video yesterday. I was play wrestling with my son, and as I was posting it, right, I'm over here listening. I'm over here like listening to music. I'm crying. I'm watching it because I'm like, I still get to do this. Like, I still get to do this, and I'm okay, and I'm good. And this is the other thing where it's like, God is so good. And then, like, people could look at me in my life, right? You could look at the bag. You could look at everything I went through. You could look at the 5 years that I've been dealing with this, and you could be like, I feel like people that don't know Jesus would look at me and be like, how is your God so good? How is he so good? I don't even understand how you're even saying that.
Right.
And I'm just
you
like,
got a bag.
like, I'm like, you have no idea. So with this bag, my wife was a CNA before, and so she worked in a nursing home as a CNA, and it is so crazy. I was like, my God is so good that he would give me a wife that used to do this for a living. And I'm like, man, so my wife's going in there. She's like changing and everything. I'm like, that's how good my God is.
That's why you
even
talk
though
about her like that.
Hey, for real though. Hey. No, man, because it's crazy. Like, to think, like, everything that's happened and stuff, and God would still put things in a way, right? and I can't plan that
He got
good.
her ready
I
for
can't
me.
plan that
I
good.
love it.
God is like, listen, I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna hurt, and it's gonna suck, and it's gonna be crazy, and you're gonna be wild, and you're not gonna want to be here. But watch, check this out, because I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna give you a wife, and she's gonna change you. I'm just
Yeah.
like, man, thank you, Jesus.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
that's where it gets really, really wild, right? Because
Yeah.
I'm like, that's how good my God is. And
Yes.
Right.
there's multiple things that have happened in my life that I can say that's why my hope is in Jesus.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
There's
That's
no
why.
doubt.
Yeah, and there is no doubt. And even when there is doubt, it's like, I don't know, Jesus just comes and on top of that, and he's like,
Yes.
no, remember that one time I did
Yes.
this? Remember? And
Remember
I'm just
that
like,
one time when you doubted me?
exactly. And he's like, no, like,
Just so you
I'm
know.
here.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, my God is good. And even though the bag cosmetically, it doesn't feel great, right? I look in the mirror and I'm just like, I remember the first couple days, right, looking in the mirror, I'm just like, man, I'm in tears because I'm like, this is not sexy. and I lost like 20 pounds too. So like, I'm like bones, right? And I'm like, this does not look good. And I'm just like, man, this sucks. Now, that was when it first happened. I think we're going 3 months now that I've had it and stuff. So I feel great. I feel great.
Good.
And so now I can wake up and I'm like, man, God, you're good. Like
Yeah.
like you're still good and
Yes.
you're always good. And even though it doesn't look
Right.
good,
Right.
right? It's like I feel good.
Yes.
Like life is normal in a sense, in
Right.
some sense. Like so, I'm like, I love this. This
and
is
I'm here
amazing.
with my beautiful wife and my son.
Exactly.
And I'm enjoying life.
Yeah, exactly. I can enjoy it in a way. Me and my wife were watching a movie the other day, and so ulcerative colitis is kind of weird and crazy because if you like look it up, it's like it says you'll use the restroom like 20 to 30 times a day. A day. And so my wife had to deal with this where it was like we'd be watching a movie and we're like 10 minutes in, I'm like, I'll be back. You know what I mean? Go watch it. We'll push play again. Babe, I'll be back. Go again. We couldn't even get through a movie without me using the restroom 5 or 6 times,
Yeah.
right? And so we didn't notice this till barely the other day. We were watching a movie and we watched the whole movie through and I didn't have to go to the bathroom. And she's like,
Those
this
little
was so cool.
wins.
Exactly. I know it sounds so
Those
crazy,
are the
but
best.
I
It
know
does not
it's
sound
so
crazy.
it's so funny.
I
So
love that.
But
yeah,
those are
it
the
is a
little
little
things
win.
that you
Yeah.
don't. You don't appreciate. Like I don't
You
sit
don't
there and
appreciate it
think,
until it's gone.
Yeah, like I don't sit there and think like, wow, I can't finish a movie because I'm going to the restroom.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah. But I seen that and she's seen
Right.
that. We're like, this is amazing.
Aw,
this is so
that's
cool.
amazing.
So we
Yeah.
go to the movie theater and stuff and be normal, and we can go to eat and be normal. It's
I love it.
yeah. Life has been so good. As of lately, and I think that it's only going to get better. And I have another surgery here in a couple weeks. I have 2 major surgeries still coming up, so that's kind of the hard part where it's like, oh man, I got to go through this again.
And we will all be praying
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate
Yes,
it. Yeah, and I like I said, and that's what the doctor said. He's like, you think you feel good now? He's like, wait till we remove some of this stuff and get you where you need to be. And I'm like, bet. Life's about to be crazy. I posted
Stop
on
the
my
cap. My kid says stop the cap.
I posted on my story the other day where I was like, healthy Zay is a dangerous Zay. And the only reason why I say that is because like I feel like God has given me so many talents, and I think this that I've been going through, God was just like, I need you to take care of you for a minute, and I know you want to do this, and I know you want to do this, and I know you want to help, and you want to, but I need you to help yourself first.
Right.
And so I would say it's like a humbling thing where it's like, just be here for a minute.
Right.
Just be here for a minute, and I want you to do all these things, but I need you to take care of yourself. And I was like, man, I want to do stuff. I want to be on the go because that's what I am. That's who I am. It's just kind of
Right.
like move.
Yeah.
And so now I'm just like, okay, well, I'm here. I'm healing. We got a couple more surgeries, but I'm going to be healing up. And then I'm like, okay, God, what do you want me to do? Like, what are we going to do? What do you need me to do? And so now I'm excited for that, where it's like, where are we going to go?
Where are
Where are you
next?
taking me? Where are you
Yes.
taking me?
And you're excited about it. You seem excited about it because there's trust there.
It sucks because I have to hold myself back because like I want to run, right? But God's like, nope, you're still right here. Stay right here still.
Yeah.
We're not done yet. And I'm like, okay, fine.
Fine.
And I just have to believe his plan. Like I said, he's a good planner.
Yeah.
He's a good planner, and I just got to trust in him that he got it.
I love
And
that.
so,
Right.
yeah, that's
love
wild.
that.
What
Wow.
a wild journey.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's a journey that you're still going through, which is,
Yeah.
you know, and you're on the other side of the journey right now, the good
Yes.
side, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I love
I never thought life could be this good. That's what's crazy. It's like when you live in I don't know. Me and my wife didn't even notice how held back we really were, right? And even like me and her with our relationship almost, right? Just because, like, for example, me just using the restroom so often, right? Where it's like, I don't know, now we can actually sit there and actually be there without me having to worry about little things like that. So it's like, dang, like, life is so good. Like, we were, and there's the other thing too, right? I told my wife this, where I was like, you have to go through struggles to get stronger, right? Like, you need that. Like, you need failure for success. Like, you need all these things. And I was like, babe, like, our relationship is so crazy and so strong because we've endured so much pain and struggles and stuff. And without these pains and struggles and all these things, we wouldn't have the convos that we have. We wouldn't have the things like this, just the relationship that we have. And I would almost take it as far as like, dang, would we even be together still if I wasn't sick? And not in the sense of like me, but I don't know, because like we have built something so strong because those late nights, me having to, like I said, I was in a lot of pain. So there was times where I'm just like, baby, you just gotta hold me. Yeah, you just need to hold me. Like, I don't know what to do. And so that has built a relationship that is so strong, like, I don't know, it's a beautiful thing to me, and I'm just like, I look at it and I'm just like, man, like, I wouldn't want it any other way, and that's why I believe God's so good. I'm like, this is everything.
Yeah.
This is him. Like, I can't do this by myself. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
What? Wow.
Thank you for being so vulnerable.
Yes.
I know. I
And
didn't
showing that
wanna- You guys made me
vulnerability.
cry.
Showing that vulnerability has just really been very impactful, and I'm sure that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And
Yeah.
your story, sorry,
you.
No,
cut you
go
off.
ahead.
Your story's going to impact so many people's lives. And thank you for being open, because
I
I know
hope
when we
so.
talked, I was like, you're like, what are we going to do, Rita? I'm like, we're going to do what happens.
Yeah,
I'm
I know.
I don't know what to tell
I
you.
know,
I
and-
know. You're
and
like, I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I've been praying all week. I was like, God, I don't know what you got planned for me. And that's the other thing too, right? Where it was like just the hope and faith that God's just gonna do what he does, right? And so it's just like, I wasn't really worried about it. I mean, I was a little like, I don't know, it's a
Yeah.
little,
You're like, it's gonna
you
happen.
still get I don't know.
The tingles.
Yeah, you're like,
the
man, like, I don't
He's
know.
like,
but,
he sat in
but
the chair. He's like, you have questions? I'm like, no, I don't. He's like, you don't? I'm like, no.
I thought you was gonna write stuff down. No, I just kidding. I thought you was gonna ask me specific questions.
Let me see him. Let me see him.
He's like,
Yeah,
He's
so-
like, what are we going to do? I was like, we're just going to talk.
No, that's
No,
so
you did
funny.
great.
But yeah, no,
I love it.
No, that is so powerful,
Yeah.
and I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yes.
How has that affected your work life? Have you had to take off a lot of time, or?
So now that I feel good, right, I've been working. My wife's probably a little sad about it. She's like, you need to calm down. You need
Yeah.
to rest still and
Yes.
stuff like that. But I'm like, I feel good, babe. Like, I don't know. Like, I wish I could do a backflip because I do it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because I want to do it. And so I've been working a lot lately. But yeah, so with the sickness and stuff, it was I went to part-time. It was hard cutting hair and having to use the restrooms. Think about that,
Yeah.
right? So I'm cutting hair, and you're about 45 minutes each haircut.
Right.
So I'm cutting hair, and I'm just like, oh, man.
It's coming.
Oh, man. And with this, it's really hard. It was really hard. And that's, even thinking about it now, I'm like, dang, I didn't realize I was really struggling that bad. Because I just
was your
kept
normal.
going. I just
Yeah.
kept going. Like, I just kept pushing because that's just who I am. And so you just keep pushing forward. Now that I think about it now, I'm like, man, like, how did you even do that? But I did go to part-time.
Yeah.
I was only working like 5-6 hours a day and just trying to keep it and just so that, I don't know, it's embarrassing too, you know? Be like, hey, bro, I'll be back real quick. Give me just one sec. You know what I
Like,
mean?
what
No,
is he doing in the back room?
You're like
He's
in the
gone
middle
like
of your
30
saying.
For
You're like,
real
I'll
though.
be back.
I've only had to do that a couple of times,
Yeah.
but
I love it.
luckily it was with clients that like I knew and they knew what was
Yeah.
happening,
Right.
so it was a good understanding. But I can
Good.
imagine like a first time client and be like, hey, I'll be back 30 minutes later. I'm like, you good, bro? I'm just kidding. You good? You ready to get back? That's so funny.
You're like, where were we?
But yeah, that affected my work life a lot, man. It affected everything where it's just kind of like, oh man. Like I said, I'm a pusher and goer and
Yeah.
doer
Yeah.
and all these things, right? So it's like all these things were just holding me back. So I'm thankful to be in a place where I feel healthy, I feel good,
Yes.
Yeah.
and I can go to work and it's so good. Even just saying it now and talking about it, because I mean, there's not a lot of people I talk to about this type of stuff, right?
Yeah.
And my wife knows it so much that we just always have combos, but it's kind of not like to look at everything that's going on, and I'm like, hey, I
Right.
feel good. I do feel
You're
good.
like,
Yeah.
good.
Wow, like this is amazing. Like,
Yes.
and so it kind of helps me to put everything in perspective too, where I'm like, God, you are good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is why I hold on to God. I
Yeah,
love it.
exactly.
I love
So,
Your story is powerful, and I mean, you are definitely going to impact a ton of people, right? What would you say to our listeners and viewers right now if you had to leave them with one last thing? What would that be?
man, I'd say number one is if you don't have hope for whatever you're going through, like Jesus is it.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I promise you. I promise you, Jesus will change everything. But also, life is fast. Life is fast and it moves so quickly, and we need to cherish like today. So this whole thing has brought me to a point where it's like one day at a time. Literally one day at a time. And even so much so where my wife will be like, what are we doing on Friday? And it's Monday. I'm like, babe, I don't even know that. I always say this. I'm like, I don't even know if we're going to be here on Friday or Saturday. And so if we look too much to the future, it's almost like I don't know. My wife does this all the time where we'll be somewhere and she's like, well, what are we doing after this? And I'm like, we're here.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's be here. Let's be where our feet are, and let's
Be
live in
present,
this
yeah.
moment and present, and we'll get to later. And so that's what I think. Where it's just like, man, one day at a time.
One day at a time.
Enjoy the moments, and because they are precious, like, and they are good. But if we're here, if we're thinking too much about the future, like
We
it's yeah,
forget to enjoy the moment in front of us.
exactly.
I love
So yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you
you're
for
welcome.
sharing that.
Thank you guys
being
for
on the
having
show.
me.
Yes,
Yeah, thank you for
being
having
so
me.
Vulnerable and
No, man, they
sharing
think I'm a
yourself.
crybaby now.
no. He's a crybaby. No, I'm joking.
No, there's
That's
nothing wrong
funny.
with some tears.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes,
funny.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you
No.
so much, Zay,
Yeah.
for.
Yeah,
I know I
appreciate it.
definitely. I think I don't know if I follow you on Instagram. I think I do because
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of your videos.
Good. Yeah,
So I'm like,
I-
so it's really
I-
good to like meet you in person.
I
and-
called her.
Yeah.
I was like, I got him. He's coming. She's like,
She's
Rita.
like, he's coming.
Like everyone.
Yeah.
I was like, everyone's like a celebrity. I was like, I got him, Stephanie.
Oh my goodness, I love
You'll
that.
never believe
I was
who
like,
I
you'll
got.
never believe
that.
everyone.
Yeah,
And
everybody.
she's like,
She's like, you'll never
That's
believe
right,
it. And I'm
Rita.
like,
I'm like,
who?
I
Rita,
got
tell
him.
me.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing. I see like everything, and I'm like, it looks so good and clean and professional, and I'm like, I gotta do this. Like, I'm so
Thank
ready
you.
to do
I
this.
love
I'm
it.
sorry that I wasn't able to do it the last
No,
time.
no,
I felt
it's
so bad. I was like, oh my
totally
gosh,
fine.
I can't do it.
That's
No, it's
okay.
okay.
But I'm glad
We're
to be
glad
here.
we're here. This was the right time and the right
Yes.
moment.
Exactly.
It was supposed
Yeah.
to be.
Exactly.
Love it.
Yeah, I love that.
Thank
Thank
you,
you so
Zay.
much. Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
All right. Remember to be bold
Be brave and,
and
be better.
See you guys soon.